Hey, my name is Nathan, and I grew up in the Word of Faith movement, and I wanted to talk about my experience in that movement and basically kind of my journey out of that movement, still serving the Lord, still loving Jesus, but I just wanted to talk about like my experience. So no, this is not some nonsensical deconstruction or what have you, but it's more as an encouragement to somebody who's either still in like the Word of Faith kind of movement to go, you can, love Jesus, serve God, and then just leave this ahistoric and basically kind of heretical group. Basically, to just encourage someone to leave the group and then come back to more historical Christianity and whatnot. Obviously, still a Protestant, go to a Baptist, well, technically non denominational, but essentially Baptist church. And, I'm not a pastor, but I believe that, even as a layperson, that you can still kind of look at something. Like, let's say if someone came around, about 1,100 years later and was like, oh, look, guys, I got the Bible too. And you'd be like, well, that's not correct. And here's why. And so basically, I just wanted to provide this as a resource for somebody who maybe grew up like me, where they're like, okay, I want to follow God. And obviously, if I could go back and, like, tell myself, kind of fix, like, everything about myself and be like, hey, you need to repent more, be a better Christian, be a better example. That's kind of like the heart of why I'm doing this, is to kind of, like, if I could, like, go back in the past and, like, help fix myself, like, that's kind of the whole point. And then also to provide kind of a good example for someone who's like trying to talk to someone who's in the Word of Faith movement and kind of get familiar with some of their like rhetoric on like a practical level. Because there's a lot of great pastors online and then names on the screen where they've like talked about this particular movement and like why it's unbiblical, but some of the time it, for like the layperson, it might be a lot, and I just want to kind of provide what that actually translates into, like everything that like Kenneth Copeland and Joel Osteen and all this sort of nonsense actually practically translates into on like a lower level, and kind of the implications and how it like works itself out. So basically, I want to encourage people to pick up the Bible, and to kind of throw this stuff out, like by Kenneth Hagin and whatnot. Um, and I mean, because it's just, I grew up always thinking that, like what Kenneth Copeland was saying, what Joel Osteen was saying, that was all sort of like pretty much what everyone believed. I mean, apart from obviously like, well, like Catholics, I had no idea about like the Eastern Orthodox Church or barely anything about like Calvinism other than just the brief point of predestination. And even then, that's super reductionistic, and there's a lot more nuance than that. And apart from that, I just sort of always grew up thinking that this was the just how like most Christians believed this sort of prosperity gospel, name it and claim it. And let's actually dive into that term.